The views and opinions expressed by the guests and contributors on Conklin and Company are not necessarily those of 13 ABC. Now, Conklin and Company continues with Take 3, commentary and analysis from our panel of political contributors.
All right, we'll wrap up today with Skylar Meadows from WJUC 107.3. Happy almost New Year to you.
That's right. Happy almost New Year to you, Sean.
Let's start in the city of Toledo. We have a new mayor who will be installed later this week. I guess I'll ask you first, now that the election's kind of settled, the dust is settled, are you surprised that Mike Collins is about to be the mayor of Toledo?
Yes.
Why that?
Absolutely surprised.
Why?
Because Mayor-elect Collins ran as an independent, which is no surprise. We already had Mayor Bell, who's an incumbent, running as an independent. So that right there, two independents running against each other, probably never should have happened because we are so heavily Democratic.
No one could tell me the last time we didn't have a Democrat in the final portion of the election.
Right, and we've been pressed to have one independent, then two going on to. That's why I said it's surprising. I mean, it wouldn't have been surprising if Mike Bell won because he's the incumbent, and incumbents generally share what, a 92% activity rate of getting reelected.
So what happened? What happened?
The voters voted for Collins, right?
I understand that, but I mean, what happened in the campaign? How did the incumbent not pull it off? How did Mike Bell not pull it off?
Well, one of the things is we've seen sweeping money spent against the incumbent, what, $250,000 by outside groups, and that has not been done before. So if you think about the average mayoral election in the last two cycles previous, they've raised what, 150,000, maybe 200,000, and they're golden. Now you have somebody, regardless of what you've raised and your messaging or lack thereof as the incumbent, spending money against you. You know.
And was that solely based, do you think, in the decision of Mayor Bell's support of SB 5 several years ago?
You know, that's an excellent point, Sean. I believe so. I believe so. If you talk to people, but if you look at the groups and their names and where they formulated from Columbus, and also the enthusiastic lack of support from the Democratic Party on the state level, that makes a difference as well.
Well, that was, I mean, wouldn't that all kind of turn into labor support? I mean, a lot of it was that as well.
Not necessarily, because you have working class people who are not Democrats that, you know, actually, AFL-CIO in their reporting, I think it's like 40% are Republicans. So if you're looking at labor being the sole basis, as you mentioned earlier, then there's got to be somebody other than just Democrats. Plus, the other thing is that the turnout was absolutely abysmal in the primary. It was pitiful.
It was low. It was. Did it even crack 30%?
No, it did not. No.
What does that say? In your experiences, what does that say in an electorate if you can't even get to the 30% mark? Do people not care?
Apathy is one thing. Lack of enthusiasm for the candidates. I think, to me, it symbolized a smackdown of the candidates that were put forth, especially on the Democratic side. I don't know if the message is they're tired, you know, the candidates put forth, or the bickering. A lot of people in hindsight said they didn't like the bickering that was put upon them between McNamara on Lopez.
And Lopez,
and so they didn't.
And the two of them essentially, you know, cannibalized themselves on the Democratic side, and then so they all fell to the wayside.
Right.
And so then leaves you with the two independents.
Right, that's true, but nobody got more than 25% amongst the top four, and there's 7 people running. So if you take those last 3, not to get really technical, you've got to draw from somewhere. So,
you do. What do you expect from Mayor Collins? Do you see major changes coming?
Absolutely not.
No?
I don't see it being any different. The one stark difference that I am looking for, and I will have to wait for, and other citizens are, is what's going to happen with the way the 22nd floor is being run a little leaner. Do you exhaust, you know, the resources? Like, you've got the public information officer who's also supervising the BCR, who's also supervising the office, who's also, oh, by the way, the executive assistant. You know, does that person exhaust themselves? And they're probably the least paid of the entire staff. On the other hand, I do not believe the micromanagement that we've seen in past administrations will go on. There just isn't that time. You know, you've empowered other people. They need to do their job. But then you have someone coming in from the Port Authority now making the top dollar in the city for economic development and reporting directly to the mayor. So this will be, it's not the first time, but this will have to be a definitely great working relationship with some type of results, because you're making the most of anyone else in the city, and we need, you know, economic development.
Right. I guess I'll ask you, have you get your crystal ball out? Have we seen the last of Mike Bell in politics?
No, I doubt it.
No, really?
I doubt it.
Where do you think we see him pop up?
You know what? That's a great question as well, Sean. I think we see him somewhere else in the service area. if I jumped way out there on a limb, and I have not spoken with him about this, but maybe he would run for county commissioner. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know.
You heard it here first today.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just got a minute and a half left. Let's talk to the state level.
Okay.
Governor Kasich up for re-election soon.
Yes.
Obviously, some of his polling has been down recently. What do you think his chances are of being re-elected?
You know what? Some of it may be driven by what Congress does in an odd type of way. If Congress is able to come back in and get the extended unemployment benefits back, then that may benefit Kasich, because right now people are in dire straits in Ohio and all over the country.
Yeah.
And so that might be a gold star for him. But on the flip side of that, he may have an easier time attacking the Democratic opponents, because the Democrats are coming in saying, Kasich is tax and spend, blah, blah, blah. And then they pick somebody as the, lieutenant governor candidate that owed a whopping load of money for taxes. So,
yeah, that was kind of odd how that kind of shook out.
not really, because, it's vetting. Look at Palin.
But don't you vet before you name him?
Look at Sarah Palin. Really? Okay. I mean, I'm just saying.
Get into that another day.
Okay, all right.
All right, last little bit of time we have. What do you think about Hillary Clinton in 2016? I saw her talking with Barbara Walters, and it was kind of
Yeah.
What do you think? Or are you too?
No, I'm not. I think nobody wants to really jump out there and say anything, because they want to see how 2014, shakes out. Right. But I think on the Democratic side, you can best believe it will be Clinton and Biden, definitely amongst
Biden,
two.
really?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought all the talk was no with him. That he's done, he's comfortable where he is.
I would be surprised if he didn't, though. How can you sit there in the vice president's chair and then just say no?
He's, he could retire, kind of go off in the sunset.
Do they ever
back
retire?
to Delaware?
Do political people ever retire?
I don't know if they do. We hope you have a great 2004. Don't you retire in 2014?
I'm not.
All right, stick around.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on Conklin and Company this morning. Have a great rest of your day.